And hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. In the rich history of reggae music, there have been loads of colorful, unforgettable and eccentric characters, but there are very few of them who have played a critical role in the development and evolution of Jamaican music from the ska, rocksteady down to the reggae eras. The legendary Roy Shirley may not be the most famous name out there, but is truly one of reggae's most impactful personalities. A consummate performer par excellence, he typified a long extinct breed of musicians in that he truly loved entertaining people with his gifts of elite showmanship and an incredible voice. He always put 110% into his live shows, employing passion and high drama to tantalize, tease and whip his audience into a frenzy, not to mention his phenomenal vocal ability that he unleashed in the studio while voicing the many classic records which have since become genre-defining staples. Alongside his peers like Hopton Lewis and Ken Booth, he's been at the center of a 6-decade-plus argument about who performed the first Rocksteady track. He was also a founding member of foundational Rocksteady group, the Uniques, a unit that was so good that they overshadowed the Wailers anytime they were on the same billing in shows around Kingston. His story is an incredible one, from his achievements, journey and eccentric persona. At his live shows, he would don outrageous costumes with impossibly high collars and capes and would put on electrifying performances that had him looking like a preacher at the peak of his sermon in what audiences likened to a religious experience. His story is one that really deserves to be told. So let's take a look at Roy Shirley, the high priest of reggae music. He was born Ainsworth Roy Rushton Shirley on July the 18th, 1944 in Kingston, Jamaica. Even as a little baby, he was already pulling in crowds who would come to see him. Normally, the sound of babies crying is hardly ever a pleasure, but when Roy's mother took him home from the hospital, visitors who came to see the baby actually found his crying to be strangely melodic. His mother was a devout Christian that took him to church every Sunday, and he would in no time make a mark as a member of the choir as both a singer and drummer while a student at the Boys' Town School in Trenchtown where he grew up. He was your average shy church boy who just loved singing when an influential English lady just stumbled on him singing his heart out in the street one morning and used her clout to enroll him in the Lannerman's talent show, which was aired regularly on a popular radio station in Kingston around 1960. His impressive debut at that contest encouraged him to enter for the immensely popular Vergent Opportunity Hour talent contest, and he was introduced on stage by the contest's previous winner in Jimmy Cliff, and he would win the second prize that evening. His awesome performance caught the attention of the then Minister of Culture in Edward Siaga and superstar band leader Byron Lee of Dragonaires, and they began to include Roy on shows and tours all over Jamaica, and all this motivated him to go professional with his singing. In 1964, he auditioned for producer Leslie Kahn, who had produced Jimmy Cliff's smash hit Hurricane Hattie 2 years earlier. With Cliff's help, the song he recorded that was named Shirley with the Diamond Ring was released and became a minor hit when it came out in 1965. He became very popular all over Kingston, with hordes of lovely young ladies chasing after him in the streets, but he was getting very little money despite all the fame. That year, he formed a group called The Leaders, along with his pals Ken Booth, Joe White and Chuck Josephs, but unfortunately, it broke up soon after, and he went on to form the Uniques with Slim Smith and Franklin White. But the Uniques would also split up after a while. He and his pal Ken Booth went to audition for Coxsone Dodd and impressed the producer a great deal. But while Ken Booth joined Studio One, Roy considered Coxsone Dodd's reputation for not paying his artists, as well as the ordeal of the Wailers, and decided not to record for him. The year was 1966, and he was working on a song that was slower than the prevailing fast-paced ska. And after hearing a Salvation Army band playing a tune in the street one night, he just knew the bass line that would make it click. And around that period, he'd gotten introduced to a television repairman and record store owner turned producer named Joe Gibbs, and got the chance to record that particular song at Federal Record Studios, backed by Trinidadian maestro guitarist Lynn Tate and his band, The Jets. That song, named Hold Them, became a monster hit and catapulted Roy into superstardom, and also launched Joe Gibbs' career as a producer. And most importantly, Roy Shirley, along with many commentators and fans, claim it was the first one-drop recording and the dawn of Rocksteady, even though most historians believe Hopeton Lewis's Take It Easy beat him to it by a few months. Bagging a #1 hit with Hold 'Em would open the floodgates, and he began to record for various producers and scored a string of hits like Get on the Ball, Dancing Reggae, and the masterpiece Music Field, which was produced by Bonnie Lee, and incidentally also helped that producer into prominence. By 1968, you couldn't mention the top 5 artists in Jamaica without mentioning Roy. He had emerged as one of Rocksteady's biggest stars and force, and with the birth of reggae in 1968, he was also at the forefront of that new sound, with absolute anthems like Heartbreak Gypsy and Flying Reggae. By 1969, he was releasing music under his own label, Public Records, and was doing very well commercially. In 1971, he made his international breakthrough and debut with a week-long residency at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York, which is known for having the hardest to please audience on the planet. And he became a hit at the Apollo with his trademark outlandish outfits of high collars, flowing capes, and super dramatic performances, which were in the mold of James Brown, albeit a lot more eccentric. In 1972, he would go on tour of the UK with U-Roy and Max Romeo, where his costume and antics would earn him the nickname of the High Priest of Reggae. And when he got there, he was shocked to discover that he was very popular over there. He fell in love with England and relocated there in 1973. A move that many reggae historians believe was a mistake, as he was cut off from the Kingston reggae scene and the community, which had always been his source of inspiration. His popularity would suffer a decline, as reggae music was in those times just taking off internationally. But Roy would continue on his grind, recording and performing consistently while running a record store in the heart of London. He would release albums like Hold 'Em in 1974, I'm the Winner in 1976, and my personal favorite, Good News, in 1981, which featured the scorcher, This Ya Reggae at the best. And I've left a link to it in this video's description section for your listening pleasure. A solid album, no doubt, but lack of proper distribution would mean that it failed to become a truly commercial success. He made a triumphant return to Jamaica in late 1982 with an appearance at that year's edition of the Reggae Sunsplash, with the audience at Montego Bay ecstatic to see the High Priest of Reggae in the flesh once again. He was described as a true honourable gentleman by everyone who knew him personally, and he established a group in England called the UK All-Stars Altruistic Federation as a kind of charity to help guide young artists and help them avoid the pitfalls which had dogged his career for years. But despite his sour experiences as a recording artist, he was already a mythical figure with reggae fans around the world, and was in high demand for concerts and music festivals everywhere for years to come. He played his last concerts at the Sierra Nevada World Music Festival in June 2008 and flew back to England for some well-deserved rest. But sadly, he was found lifeless at his home in London a few weeks later at the age of 63. A sad ending to one of reggae's most talented and memorable artists. And while he may not have gone down as the most commercially successful or famous artist of his generation, he will always be remembered as one of the true pioneers and most consummate artists to ever emerge from Jamaica. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Ja bless.